Out of nowhere, my phone lights up with a text. I'm pregnant, keeping the baby, but I want you completely out of the picture. My response was short and sweet. Got it. Then, I took a screenshot of a DNA test from 2 years ago and sent it straight to her mother. 20 minutes later, her mom was pounding on my front door, dragging her crying daughter behind her. Let me back up a bit. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and it was about 3:22 in the afternoon. I was sitting at my desk finishing up some paperwork for work when that initial text came in. It was from my ex, who's 27. We were together for 3 years but called it quits about 8 months ago. Her messages read, "Hey, just so you know, I'm pregnant. It's yours. But I don't want you involved in any capacity. No child support, no visitation, nothing. I'm doing this completely on my own. Just thought you had a right to know." I just stared at my screen for a solid 60 seconds before typing out a simple, "Got it." Immediately, those 3 typing dots popped up, disappeared, and came right back. She fired back, "That's it? Just got it? Wow, that really shows your true colors. Don't ever contact me again." I tossed my phone onto the desk, walked over to my filing cabinet, and pulled out a folder labeled Key Documents. Inside was a DNA report from exactly 2 years and 3 months ago. That piece of paper was the exact moment my trust in her completely shattered, even though I foolishly tried to make the relationship work for another year after that. See, 2 years back, she had this massive pregnancy scare. She was absolutely certain she was expecting and made a huge production out of it. We were literally picking out baby names and painting the guest room to be a nursery. Then, one afternoon, she came home hysterical, telling me she had miscarried. But my gut told me something was off. Her story kept changing, and her timeline didn't make any sense. When I gently suggested we see a doctor to make sure she was physically okay, she absolutely blew up at me, screaming that I didn't trust her. The suspicion wouldn't go away, so I did something I'm honestly not proud of. I grabbed a few strands of hair from her hairbrush and sent them off to a lab alongside a stained tissue she had thrown in the trash from her supposed miscarriage. Look, I know how crazy that sounds, but my instincts were screaming at me. And guess what? The lab results came back with 0 genetic match. The tissue she claimed was a miscarriage wasn't even human DNA. It turned out to be chicken liver. I never actually called her out on it back then. Instead, I just started checking out of the relationship emotionally, and we eventually broke up over irreconcilable differences. She had absolutely no clue I knew she lied. But looking at my phone now, I realized she was trying to pull the exact same stunt a second time. I snapped a clear photo of those lab results and opened up a chat with her mom. Her mom and I always got along great. Honestly, she used to joke that she liked me way more than her own daughter. I messaged her, "Hey, sorry to bother you. Your daughter just texted me claiming she's pregnant and telling me to stay away. Given the circumstances, I think you should take a look at this document from 2 years ago before anyone makes any big decisions. I kept this quiet at the time, but you need to see it now." I attached the photo and hit send. My phone started ringing off the hook within 30 seconds. She texted, "What on earth is this? Are you implying what I think you're implying? Do not leave your apartment, we are coming over right now." Exactly 22 minutes later, someone was trying to break down my front door. I opened it, and there was her mom holding her by the arm. Her face was completely red and swollen from crying, and her mom looked absolutely furious. "Inside. Now!" her mom barked, shoving her through the doorway. They sat down on the sofa. Well, her mom basically forced her down into the cushions. "Lay it all out for me," her mom demanded. I walked over, handed her the physical folder, the original lab printouts, and the timeline notes I'd kept. With every page she read, her mom's face got a shade darker. She turned to her daughter and hissed, "You faked a pregnancy? You staged a miscarriage?" The girl was sobbing hysterically. "It wasn't like that. I really thought I was pregnant at first, and then I wasn't sure. He was being so sweet to me, and I just didn't want to disappoint him." I leaned in calmly and asked, "So you went out, bought animal organs, and faked a medical emergency?" The entire room went dead silent. She choked out, "How did you even?" "DNA test," I replied. It wasn't human tissue. Her mom stood up incredibly slowly. And this current pregnancy? The girl just stared at the floor. Answer me. Her mom raised her voice. I am pregnant, she whispered. But it's not his. The apartment was so quiet you could hear the faint sound of my neighbor's television through the wall. Then whose is it? Her mom asked, her voice dropping to a freezing temperature. My coworker's. Her mom gasped. Your married coworker who has 2 kids? Silence. You're trying to trap him with this because your coworker won't leave his wife for you, her mom said. It wasn't a question. She knew. She completely broke down. You don't understand. He told me he loved me. He said he was getting a divorce. But then his wife got pregnant again, and he told me he couldn't walk out on her. I'm 2 months along. What am I supposed to do? I leaned back in my chair, taking it all in. So your grand plan was to tell me it was mine, pretend you wanted no help, and gamble on the fact that I'd fight for custody and financially support you anyway? She looked up at me through her tears. You were always so dependable and good to me. I knew that even if I told you to stay away, you'd step up anyway. You'd never let a kid go without. Except it isn't my kid, I stated. You never would have found out. She cried. Before the words fully left her mouth, her mom's hand flew across the space between them. The sound of the slap echoed through the room. What would you do in this situation? I mean, would you have even let them into your apartment in the first place? Leave a comment with your thoughts. You completely disgust me, her mom told her daughter. Using this man's decency against him after everything he did for you? He literally paid for your classes. He supported you financially while you were trying to find yourself. He treated you like absolute royalty, and this is how you repay him? Wow, you guys completely called it in the comments. And let me tell you, that drama was just the tip of the iceberg. After her mom literally dragged her out of my place by her ear like a misbehaving toddler, I figured the nightmare was over. I was completely wrong. The next morning, I woke up to my phone blowing up with dozens of social media notifications. My ex had posted this massive, rambling story trying to paint me as a deadbeat dad who abandoned her the second things got real. She wrote, word for word, "Some guys talk a big game until real consequences hit and then they run. Ladies, this is exactly why we need to raise our standards. Hashtag single moms rock. Hashtag deadbeat dad. Hashtag not ready." The comment section was a total dumpster fire. Her friends were completely dragging my name through the mud, calling me trash. One of her friends even left a multi-paragraph rant about how guys like me deserve to be chemically castrated. But here is where the plot twists. Her mom is on that app too. Her mom blocked out the noise and commented right under the post. "Very creative storytelling, sweetie. Should I post the DNA results proving you faked a pregnancy 2 years ago? Or should I mention to everyone here that you admitted the baby actually belongs to your married coworker? My daughter is a liar and a homewrecker, everyone. He is the actual victim here." The comment section absolutely detonated. Within 60 minutes, my ex deleted her entire profile. But as we all know, screenshots are forever, and I saved every single one of them for legal backup. Then, the messages started coming from the coworker's wife. She reached out asking, "Is this true? Is she actually pregnant with my husband's baby?" I didn't hold back. I sent her screenshots of the entire situation, including an audio recording of the confession in my living room. Yeah, I recorded the whole showdown. We live in a one-party consent state, folks. Always protect yourself. 20 minutes later, the wife blasted the screenshots all over her own profile with the caption, "So this is the work friend my husband told me I was being crazy and paranoid about. Now she's pregnant with my husband's child while trying to trick her ex into raising it. Some women truly have no shame. Consider this your public service announcement." She tagged my ex, she tagged her husband, and she even tagged the company where they both work. The drama came right back to my doorstep that evening when the coworker showed up at my apartment. This absolute clown actually had the audacity to be angry at me. "You couldn't just let it go, could you?" He started screaming the second I cracked the door open. "Excuse me?" I asked. "She wasn't asking you for a single dime. She literally told you she wanted you out of it." You could have just walked away clean. But no, you had to play detective and ruin my entire life. I couldn't help it. I laughed right in his face. Ruin what exactly? Your secret affair? Your marriage? Your endless lies? You don't get it, he yelled. My wife is divorcing me and taking everything. The house, the kids, all of it. And now my ex won't even take my calls because she claims it's my fault for not leaving my wife sooner. Sounds like a personal problem, pal. I can make this your problem real quick. He stepped forward, attempting to look threatening. Look, this guy is short and built like a literal twig. I just pointed up at the ceiling. Hey man, my doorbell camera is recording every single second of this. Go ahead and put your hands on me. I'm sure an assault charge will look fantastic in your custody hearings. He completely deflated right then and there. She told me she was on birth control. He started whimpering. She told me she had a miscarriage before and showed me the tissue. She told me it was chicken liver. Yeah, welcome to the club, pal, I said, holding up the old lab results. His face drained of all color. Oh my God. What have I done? I ruined my entire family for a psychopath. And then he literally started crying. This grown man was standing in my hallway sobbing over his self-inflicted disaster. A tiny part of me felt bad for him, but the rest of me remembered he was a married dad who willingly chose to cheat on his wife unprotected. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So, remember how I told you her mom was completely on my side? Well, that opened up a massive rift in their family. Apparently, her dad decided that I am somehow the villain in this story. Then her dad decided to jump into the ring. This guy claimed I completely humiliated his little princess, aired out private family business, and was probably the reason she started lying in the first place. He actually called me up, screaming and threatening to sue me for defamation. I just told him straight up that the truth is a complete defense against defamation. He kept yelling, saying I was calling his daughter a liar. I corrected him. No, I'm saying she lied. There's a big difference. One is a character judgment, and the other is a literal fact backed up by lab evidence. He snapped back that I had absolutely no right to share that paperwork with his wife. I told him his grown daughter tried to commit actual fraud, so her mother absolutely deserved to know the truth. Then he slammed the phone down on me. Next thing I know, the extended family gets dragged into the mess. One of her aunts posted this long thing on social media about how some people need to mind their own business and keep family matters behind closed doors. Well, her mom wasn't having it and fired right back under the post, writing, "Family issues? My daughter tried to scam an innocent man into raising another guy's kid. That's a crime." The aunt tried to defend her, saying she just made a mistake and was pregnant and terrified. Her mom shut it down instantly. She's pregnant because she slept with a married dad, and she's terrified because she finally got caught. Stop making excuses for her. That internet feud went on for hours. Cousins were picking sides, and even her grandmother chimed in, saying that back in her day, people handled these things quietly, which triggered a whole separate debate about generational differences. But my ex wasn't done yet. She actually showed up at my workplace. I work at a small agency with about 20 people on staff, so everyone knows everyone else's business. Suddenly, she walks through the door, visibly pregnant this time since she'd been hiding it before, crying her eyes out at the front desk. She was begging the receptionist, saying, "Please, I need to talk to him. He won't answer any of my calls, and this is about our baby." The receptionist paged me, and I made sure to bring my manager down with me to act as a witness. The second I saw her, I told her she needed to leave immediately. She started making a scene, crying, "Please, I'm so sorry for everything, but this baby needs a father." I told her to go tell her coworker to step up. She blurted out that he wouldn't, that his wife was divorcing him, and that he claimed the baby wasn't his problem. I looked at her and asked, "So somehow that makes it my problem?" She actually had the nerve to say, "You're a good man, and you'd be an amazing father. Biology doesn't even matter." At that point, my manager stepped in and told her she had to leave right then or he was calling security. She wailed, "But I'm pregnant." I made sure to say it loudly enough for the entire office to hear. "With someone else's child. You already admitted it isn't mine, and this is harassment. She turned around to the small crowd of my coworkers who were watching and shouted, "He's abandoning me. I made one single mistake, and he's throwing away 3 years of history." That was the final straw. I pulled out my phone and pressed play on the recording of her admitting her coworker was the father. The entire office heard her voice loud and clear. Her face instantly shifted from fake tears to pure horror. She gasped, "You recorded me?" I just reminded her we live in a one-party consent state and told her to get out before I filed a restraining order. She finally stormed out, screaming at the top of her lungs that I was a heartless monster who ruined her life. Once the doors closed, the receptionist just looked at me and said, "Dude, your ex is completely out of her mind." That workplace stunt pushed me over the edge, so I went ahead and filed for a restraining order. The judge took one look at the evidence of her fraud attempt and listened to the recording, then issued a temporary order on the spot. Apparently, that caused her to completely lose her mind. First, she called my 62-year-old mother, spinning a lie that she was carrying her grandbaby. My mom, bless her heart, didn't fall for it for a second. She told her, "Sweetie, my son sent me the recording. I know that baby isn't his. But honestly, even if it was, after what you've done, I wouldn't want you anywhere near our family. Please go get some professional help." My ex snapped back by claiming I was actually gay and in denial, and that was the real reason I was rejecting her and the baby. My mom just laughed and said, "Even if he was, that would be totally fine with me. But he isn't, especially considering he's been happily dating a wonderful girl he met at his gym for the past month. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. I started seeing a great girl from my gym. It was pretty fresh at the time, but she's awesome. Thought this entire situation was completely wild, and was incredibly supportive through all of it. Anyway, since my mom shut her down, she tried to get a hold of my ex-girlfriend from college. My college ex actually called me up laughing about it. She told me, "Your crazy ex just messaged me asking if you ever showed violent tendencies when we were together." I told her the only thing you ever violated was a plate of pizza rolls at 2 in the morning. But the desperation kept escalating. Her dad decided to take matters into his own hands and showed up at my apartment building with his 2 brothers. It was 3 middle-aged guys trying to corner me and bully me into doing what they wanted. Her dad walked right up and declared, "You are marrying my daughter." I literally laughed in his face and said, "No, I'm absolutely not." He yelled that she was pregnant and completely alone, and I told him she was pregnant with another man's baby, making it his problem, not mine. One of the uncles stepped forward, trying to act tough, and asked if I thought I was a big man. I told him, "I think I'm smart enough to have all of this captured on my doorbell camera. I also happen to know my neighbor is a police officer who is home right now. Do you want me to go knock on his door?" They turned around and left real quick after that, but her dad warned me I'd regret it. The very next day, my landlord called me. Her dad had actually called him up claiming I was running an illegal drug operation out of my apartment. My landlord, who has known me for 5 years, just laughed it off and wanted to give me a heads up about the crazy accusation. Then they called my job, claiming I was embezzling money from the company. My boss told them straight up that they needed to provide immediate proof of their claims or prepare to face serious legal action for defamation, and they hung up. But their absolute peak desperation happened a few days later. My ex posted a massive sob story in a pregnancy support group on social media, claiming she had been completely abandoned by her baby's father and desperately needed financial help. She actually managed to raise $1,400 before someone recognized her from the coworker's wife's viral post and exposed the whole truth in the comments section. The group administrators looked into it, confirmed she was running a scam, banned her from the group, and told her she had to return every single cent or they would press fraud charges. Finally, the day for the permanent restraining order hearing arrived. She showed up wearing a massive maternity dress that made it look like she was ready to give birth to triplets, even though she was only about 3.5 months along. Her dad was right there with her, alongside a lawyer who looked like he got his degree out of a vending machine. My attorney, who is an absolute professional and worth every single dime, came fully prepared. She had the old lab results from the chicken liver incident, the audio recordings, the screenshots, the proof of workplace harassment, and the documented false claims made to my landlord and employer. Her lawyer tried to argue that I had emotionally coerced her into lying about who the father was. My attorney just looked at him and asked, "How exactly does someone coerce a person into sleeping with a married coworker?" He tried to say I withheld affection, but my lawyer pointed out we had been broken up for 8 months by the time she got pregnant. The judge looked completely exhausted by the whole thing. Then my ex took the stand and tried to force out some tears, dramatically clutching her stomach and claiming she was heartbroken that I wouldn't step up for this innocent child. The judge stopped her and asked, "Ma'am, is this man the biological father?" She tried to dodge the question, saying that biology doesn't define fatherhood. The judge barked back, "That is not what I asked you. Is he the father?" After a really long, agonizing pause, she whispered, "No." The judge asked if she knew who the father was, and she said yes. When asked who it was, she snapped that it was irrelevant. The judge didn't hesitate and granted me a full 2-year restraining order. My ex started screaming that I was ruining her life, her dad called me a coward, and security had to physically escort them out of the building. But the show wasn't even over. Outside the courthouse, her coworker was waiting right there with divorce papers, asking her to sign a legal waiver giving up any claim to child support. Her reaction was legendary. She started swinging her purse at him like a maniac. Her dad grabbed the guy, and the coworker's lawyer caught the entire brawl on video. It was absolute chaos. It actually made the local news with a headline about a courthouse domestic dispute leading to 3 arrests. Yep, her dad, my ex, and her uncle all got arrested for assault and disturbing the peace. On top of that, she was legally forced to pay back the $1,400 she scammed out of that support group, and she got blacklisted from multiple online parenting communities after her story went viral. The coworker's divorce went through, and his wife absolutely cleaned him out. Last I heard, he's living in a tiny studio apartment, paying a massive chunk of his income in alimony and child support for his actual children, and completely refusing to acknowledge my ex's pregnancy. She tried one final, desperate move and went to a lawyer to see if she could sue me for intentional infliction of emotional distress. The attorney practically laughed her out of the building. I only know that because his legal assistant happens to be good friends with the receptionist at my office. And here's the absolute cherry on top of the karma cake. The company where she and her coworker worked has an incredibly strict policy against office relationships. When their affair came to light because the wife tagged the company in her viral post, both of them were immediately fired. My ex tried to claim pregnancy discrimination, but the HR department came forward with ironclad proof that she had used company computers to plan her fake pregnancy announcement to me. They pulled her entire search history, and some of the top searches were literally, "How to convince your ex the baby is his," and "How to fake lab results." So now, she's completely jobless, pregnant, forced to live back with her parents, and legally barred from coming anywhere near me. Her mom actually called me last week. She said, "Jake, I am so incredibly sorry for everything. I'm getting her into therapy, but she still refuses to take an ounce of responsibility. She genuinely believes you ruined her life by not just playing along with her plan." I told her I truly hoped her daughter got the help she needs. Her mom told me I was a good man, honestly too good for her daughter. For the final update, she ended up giving birth to a baby boy. The coworker legally signed away his parental rights before the birth even happened. She still tried to list my name as the father on the birth certificate anyway, and the hospital actually called me to verify the claim. I immediately sent over copies of the restraining order and the court documents. The hospital staff told her dad they were refusing to put my name down, and he caused such a massive scene that security had to physically throw him out of the maternity ward. Word around town is she's still stuck living with her parents, and to make things worse, her mom and dad are now getting a divorce because this whole situation exposed some massive, deep-rooted issues in their marriage. The coworker packed up and moved to an entirely different state to start over, while his ex-wife is doing amazing and is currently dating a doctor she met at her gym. The aunt is still posting passive-aggressive memes online about family loyalty. As for me, the girl from my gym and I are officially a couple now. She is incredible, smart, funny, and fiercely honest, which is a beautiful change of pace. She actually jokes that she owes my ex a thank you note for being crazy enough to make sure I was single when we met. My company ended up giving me a really nice raise after all the drama settled down, and my manager told me he was incredibly impressed with how professionally I handled a total circus. I moved into a much nicer apartment building with high-end security, just in case her dad ever gets any more bright ideas. Even my attorney sent me a holiday card with a picture of my case file labeled, "Easiest win of the year." The best part of it all? A mutual friend told me a month ago that my ex is out here telling people that I actually trapped her with a baby and then abandoned her when she refused to marry me. Even her own mother doesn't buy her stories anymore. Some people have asked me if I feel guilty about how everything turned out. Honestly, not even a little bit. I easily could have ignored that first text message and let her live out her delusion. But she tried to trap me into raising a child that wasn't mine, faked a medical emergency, and actively tried to destroy my career, my reputation, and my relationships. She played stupid games, and she won the exact prizes she deserved. The only people I genuinely feel bad for are that poor kid, who has to grow up with her as a mother, and her mom, who is a good woman drowning in her daughter's absolute chaos. But that isn't my cross to bear anymore. It never really was. To anyone out there dealing with something even remotely similar, document absolutely every single thing, trust your gut instincts, and never let someone else make you feel guilty for the consequences of their own twisted choices. Peace out. And hey, if you're reading this right now, and let's be real, we both know someone is going to screenshot this and text it to you. Your son deserves a hell of a lot better than the endless drama you keep stirring up. Go get some help. Do it for his sake, even if you won't do it for your own. Oh, and one last thing, no, I am absolutely not going to tell you where I got that genetic test done a few years ago. You can stop asking, old man.